Sagittarius, have you ever wondered why some people, from the very first time they meet you, feel something both captivating and unsettling? Why some feel illuminated in your presence, but then retreat in fear when the light you carry shines directly into the dark corners within them? And why, even when you don't mean to, you often become the one who breaks illusions, who triggers the deepest questions in the hearts of others? You are not just a Sagittarius. You are the torch in the storm, the one who dares to step forward when all others turn away. You carry within you an ancient sacred mission, a gift that the universe and perhaps even God once gave you with full trust, and then, according to some ancient manuscripts, regretted. Yes, what you're about to discover in this message will completely change the way you understand the energy of Sagittarius. Not just a zodiac sign of freedom, knowledge, or optimism, but a guardian of ancient wisdom, a traveler between worlds, a bearer of light that pierces beyond what ordinary minds can comprehend. There is a secret, preserved in the oldest mystical texts in existence, about the power granted to those born under the symbol of the sacred arrow. A power so radiant, so piercing, that even the Creator himself, realizing he had given it away too easily, considered taking it back. But it was too late. And the surprising part is, very few know this truth. You are about to embark on an awakening journey, not just through astrology, but into the very essence of your soul. Whether you are a Sagittarius yourself or have one in your life, this message will change the way you see them forever. Because what you're about to hear is the real reason why you've always felt like you belong to another world. The reason why you've been compelled to wander, to seek, to understand. Something that lies beyond everything others call normal. And the reason why God could not take back the gift, even though he once intended to. If you're ready for a divine revelation, leave the word awakening in the comments, so I know you truly desire to step into the light that very few dare to walk toward. And subscribe now, because this isn't just a video, this is a soul calling. And more than that, leave the word awakening in the comments, to let me know you're truly ready to step into a journey of discovering one of the deepest universal secrets tied to the Sagittarius soul. That word was not chosen by chance. It is the very embodiment of the power we are about to unlock. And when you write it, you're not just typing a word, you're forming an energetic connection with ancient wisdom, a bridge that bypasses the intellect and sinks into the quietest layer of your spirit. If you're still enough to hear it. Because in order to understand the power that God once gave to Sagittarius, we must turn back time, back to the very beginning of beginnings, when the energy of the cosmos was first divided between the 12 zodiac gates. Each gate, a sacred frequency, planted into this earthly realm like divine seeds. The ancient scriptures say that when the Creator breathed life into the universe, he carved 12 luminous symbols across the sky, each carrying a piece of truth, each a path back to source. Aries was given the flame of beginnings. Taurus received the grounding earth, the root of survival. Gemini carried the wind of thought and connection. Cancer became the sacred spring of memory and emotion. Each sign was gifted something precise, a living symbol of life. But when it came to Sagittarius, something extraordinary happened. The universe didn't just give a gift, it opened a gate between worlds and placed the key in Sagittarius's hand. You, Sagittarius soul, were not just given the light of knowledge like a scholar, not just the boundless expansion of a wanderer, not just the impulsive intuition many misunderstand you for. You were given the power to pierce illusions, speak truth, and guide other souls toward the light. There are 3 levels to this power. At the first level, you are the wild archer, the centaur, a soul both human and beast, carrying within you an unquenchable thirst to escape, to explore, to shatter every boundary. This is the stage when you live by instinct and adventure, always moving but not knowing where you're headed. The truth is, many Sagittarians spend their youth exactly like this, rootless, directionless, yet burning like a sacred flame that refuses to go out. Then comes the second level, the sage. You begin to pause and ask, what am I really living for? You're no longer satisfied by travel, books, or fleeting relationships. You want to understand the laws that govern the universe. You want to grasp the meaning behind every encounter. This is when Sagittarius begins to practice faith. Not empty belief, but wisdom distilled through lived experience. And finally, at the highest level, Sagittarius becomes the prophet of light. Not a prophet who sees the future, but one who sees the deeper purpose behind every event. The one who can unlock another's soul through words. The one who speaks little, but touches deep. The one who appears exactly when a lost soul needs direction and points toward the light. This power was so immense, God once considered taking it back. Ancient texts tell of a time in human history when belief became a tool of control, when knowledge was used to divide rather than connect. And some Sagittarians, instead of embodying the sacred gift, used it to serve their own egos. They ran from responsibility. They spread dogma instead of freedom. They spoke of hope, but did not live it in truth. And in that moment, the Creator hesitated. He looked at Sagittarius's sacred arrow and wondered, was I too generous with this gift? Has this light fallen into the wrong hands? But then, Jupiter, god of wisdom, expansion, and higher faith, stepped forward. He said, if there are none who see beyond the horizon, then humanity will forever wander in the maze of comfort and repetition. If no soul dares to fire the arrow into darkness, then light will have nowhere to shine. And so, instead of taking back the gift, God made a sacred covenant with Sagittarius. You will carry the light, but you will walk in journey. You will show others the way, but you will have no place to call home. And whenever you forget what is real, the universe will send you a blow to remind you. Have you ever felt that way? Why can't you stay in one place? Why do you always feel too big for your surroundings? Why do the ones you love rarely stay by your side for long? It's not punishment. You are living the soul contract of a guide. And if you're not a Sagittarius, but you have one in your life, understand this. The truth they carry may feel harsh at first, but one day, it becomes the lighthouse for your mind when it loses its way. Let me say this as a friend. Whether or not you are Sagittarius, you too are being called to fire your sacred arrow beyond fear. That arrow might be a big decision, a moment of forgiveness, an act of trust, a step forward you're unsure about, but deep down, you know it's right. Let the light of truth shine back at you. No doctrine needed, only honesty, so raw, so real, that nothing can deceive you anymore. Because that very honesty is the language of God. And that is the language the Sagittarius soul was born to speak. If any part of my words has touched something inside you, pause for a breath. Write down the one sentence that struck you most in the comments. It doesn't have to be long. It just has to be true. Because sometimes a single honest sentence you share can become the arrow of light that reaches a soul lost somewhere out there. What very few people know is, in the ancient texts hidden deep within sacred temples, there is a passage that says, the Creator actually began the process of withdrawing Sagittarius's power. Yes, there was once a moment when the light of truth carried by Sagittarius was misused, when those bearing the sacred arrow no longer fired into the light, but aimed at places they wanted to control. They used their wisdom to win arguments, their words to manipulate, their love of freedom as an excuse to escape soul-level commitment. And so, regret arose in the mind of the Creator. He began retrieving the gift of traveling between realms of awakening. But then, something happened. Jupiter, the god of higher knowledge, the protector of wandering souls seeking light, intervened. He knelt before the Creator and said, if there are no ones left who carry the fire of faith, who will light the way for those drowning in doubt? If there are no Sagittarius souls who will carry the light of wisdom across the deserts of pain? Jupiter showed the Creator that the universe does not need truth alone, but those who dare to live in service of truth. It needs those who can rise again after failing, those who can admit they once misused the gift but choose growth instead of denial. And so, instead of erasing the power, God created a sacred system of balance, a system where only those Sagittarians who pass through deep inner purification can truly use their power as it was meant to be. That is why you, as a Sagittarius, often feel like your life moves in sudden journeys, soul turns no one else can understand. That is why, every time you think you're finally settled, the universe pushes you further again, not to punish you, but to make you worthy of the gift you carry. I once asked myself as a Sagittarius, why did no one teach us how to navigate emotions? Why did no one warn us, when you carry the light, you will also attract the darkness that needs transformation? The ancient sages say, A mature Sagittarius becomes the keeper of the living torch. One who doesn't just read the sacred texts, but lives as one. One who doesn't just speak the truth, but lives it, even when it costs them solitude. One who doesn't just fire the arrow, but bows in humility when the wind changes direction. And that is why Sagittarius carries a strange magnetism. People come to you not because you comfort them, but because you illuminate them. Not because you are soft, but because you see what they hide. Not because you soothe them, but because you show them the truth they've been afraid to face. And that is also why many people fear you, because deep down, they know you can see what they refuse to confront. Because you are the one who can pierce the veil of illusion, strip away the masks, touch the emptiness they don't yet know how to name. And there is nothing more terrifying than someone who can call your soul by its true name. So today, I invite you to pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, I, one who was given the light, what have I done with my arrow? Where have I aimed it? At a heart that needed healing? Or at the darkness that was waiting for me to arrive? And if you are not a Sagittarius, I invite you to reflect on the Sagittarius in your life. Perhaps they once hurt you with their blunt honesty, but could it be that very truth saved you from a dark path you were clinging to? Because the power of Sagittarius was never meant for them alone. It was given as a tool for collective healing, a torch carrying higher knowledge, a bridge between blindness and awakening. An ancient manuscript from the Nag Hammadi scriptures discovered in 1945 says this: each time humanity descends into darkness, a soul emerges from the desert, holding a torch, and no one understands them until all others have lost their way. Are you that one? Do you dare to keep walking, even when misunderstood? Do you dare to speak, even when your voice trembles? Do you dare to believe, even when you have nothing left to hold on to? Because the truth is, you were chosen. God chose you. Not because you are perfect, but because you are willing to learn how to wield your gift with a heart that has been broken open. The true power of Sagittarius is not just the ability to communicate knowledge. It is the ability to transmute fear into faith, information into wisdom, and isolation into collective light. And if anything I've said today has touched your heart, please leave a sentence that stayed with you. Not for me, but for someone out there, lost, who might read it and know they're not alone. This is Sagittarius people often attract complexity, lost souls, encounters that seem random but carry life-changing messages. It's not because you crave chaos. It's not because you're carrying some heavy karmic debt, as some people say. It's because on the level of the soul, energies that are ready for elevation are drawn toward the place that can help heal them. It's as if the universe knows exactly where to send certain souls when a spark of awakening is needed. When someone is about to give up, but your gaze, your words, a single insight you shared can pull them back from the edge. And because of that, you, the one carrying the sacred arrow, often find yourself pulled into the emotional journeys of others. You are the one faced with questions others avoid. You are the one who keeps searching for meaning in pain, and you cannot pretend that surface-level stories are enough to satisfy your soul. But be careful. The power of Sagittarius is not a gift that operates on its own. It is a double-edged sword, a gift that must be honed, refined, and used with conscious awareness. In the early stages, Sagittarius only reacts to the energies they encounter. You run, you explore, you absorb knowledge, experiences, people, lands, but you don't yet discern what is truth and what is just escape. You may speak passionately about freedom, but inside, there's still chaos and restlessness. This is the phase of the wandering archer, where transformation happens not through books, but by hurling yourself into life, getting wounded, and learning through trial. You weren't teaching anyone. You were being taught by nameless experiences. But when your soul begins to mature, you start to see more clearly. You no longer rush to explore everything out there. Instead, you turn inward and realize you are the map. You learn how to keep a healthy distance from dense energy. You observe rather than absorb. You stop carrying everyone on your back and start guiding them with wisdom. This is the phase of the sage, where transformation happens through discernment, through separating the essential from the superficial. And at the highest level, when you no longer carry the ego of the knower, but become the one who lights the flame without needing to stand under its glow. You become the prophet of light. You know exactly what needs to be said and what needs to remain unspoken. You transmute fear into faith, loss into mission, separation into a deeper soul reunion. This is the power God once considered taking back. Because in the hands of someone unconscious, this power could become a tool for manipulation, for false logic, and dangerous dogma. But in the hands of someone who has learned from their own mistakes, it becomes a tool for collective soul healing. And this is the part very few people know. According to the Essene scrolls kept hidden in cloistered monasteries for centuries, the Creator didn't just choose to preserve the power of Sagittarius. He made a secret covenant. He said, if you wish to keep that flame, you must vow to hold the truth, even when all others choose illusion. You must become the keeper of light, not when it's easy, but when the world around you has sunken into doubt, division, and spiritual blindness. And that is why you, Sagittarius, have such a deep connection to truth. You cannot bear gentle lies. You would rather hear a painful truth than be lulled to sleep by illusion. You feel it when someone isn't being real. You see through the energy behind their words. Maybe you were the first one to speak the truth in a room full of silence. Not because you wanted to stand out, but because you couldn't tolerate pretending. And because of that, your life has never been easy. You faced test after test, collapse after collapse, moments when you believed your faith had completely run dry, only to be born again through the ashes. These are not punishments, they are initiations. Tests to see if you can still carry the light without mistaking yourself for the source of it. And that is why when a Sagittarius is truly mature, they are no longer the one who travels far, but the one who journeys deep. They become a collective alchemist, the one who sees the root cause behind a behavior, the one who can speak a single sentence and shift the entire direction of someone's soul. They pierce through surface-level stories. They move past masks and defenses. They name the pain that others haven't yet dared to face. In ancient mystical traditions, Sagittarius is described as the traveler between worlds, bringing light from the unseen realm back to the place where humanity has forgotten where their soul belongs. Not everyone is ready to hear you. Not everyone can handle the light you carry. But you are not here to please. You are here to awaken the truth that sleeps inside others. And that is exactly why, at the end of deep contemplation, God did not take back the gift. Because he knew, if not for you, the light would begin to fade. And now, if you're listening to these words, whether you are a Sagittarius or someone who has a Sagittarius in your life, you are standing at a crossroads. Will you choose to use this light to serve your own ego, or to serve the healing of souls who have lost their way? Will you aim your arrow toward comfort, or toward the truth, even if it costs you the world you once knew? And if you're not a Sagittarius, you are still standing before a choice. Will you fear this light, or let it guide you back to yourself? And if you are still here, still listening, still breathing through these truths, then perhaps you too are facing a decision. Will you shy away from the truth that a Sagittarius might shine into your life? Or will you see that fire as a sacred mirror for your own growth? Because the truth is, the transformational power God gave Sagittarius is not something to fear. On the contrary, it is one of the most precious gifts ever given to humanity. A gift that, when understood and wielded with wisdom, has the power to change not just a person, but an entire civilization. What I've just shared with you is not mere astrological curiosity, nor a mystical story. It is a key to understanding the way you relate to Sagittarius energy in your own life. And from there, the way you choose to live, choose to speak, and choose to transform. So ask yourself, if you are a Sagittarius, how many times have you tried to water down your truth just to make others more comfortable? How many times have you stayed silent, even when you knew the truth was being twisted before your very eyes? How often have you felt like the way you live is simply too much for this world? Too deep, too wide, too radically honest? And if you're not a Sagittarius, but you have someone with that fire in your life, how many times have you felt exposed around them, like they could see right through every mask you've spent years perfecting? What most people don't understand is that intensity doesn't exist to hurt. It exists to heal, to purify, to pull light out of the darkness and place it in clear view. When a Sagittarius looks at you and sees chaos, it's not because they're judging you. It's because they see your light, buried beneath the very thing you've been running from. Pause and imagine, what if the greatest fear inside you is the very door to your greatest strength? According to the Hermetic texts, the root of many Western mystical traditions, Sagittarius is the doctor of the soul. Not one who heals with scalpels or pills, but one who heals with the right question at the right moment, with truth that lands like a thunderclap, with a gaze that pierces through the fog of illusion. And that's why so many Sagittarians become mentors, healers, inspirers, educators, astrologers, storytellers, because these roles allow them to use their natural ability to transform, not to shine, but to serve. But there's something even deeper than that, something that even the modern spiritual communities rarely talk about. The power of Sagittarius does not just influence the individual, it has meaning for the collective field of human consciousness. According to the Akashic records, the vibrational archive of everything that has ever happened in the universe, Sagittarius often appears at pivotal moments in human history as a catalyst for deep and lasting transformation. It is no coincidence that many reformers, prophets, educators, and visionary leaders were born under Sagittarius or had Jupiter placed prominently in their natal charts. They didn't just question the system, they embodied the answers through their very presence. And this brings us to now. Do you really believe it's a coincidence that you're hearing this at this very moment? It's not. We collectively are walking through a portal of profound transformation, a great transmutation, as the ancient Hermetic texts once called it. An era in which old structures, built on fear, control, and separation, are crumbling, and something new is emerging, built on love, unity, and co-creation. In this passage, the power God once gave to Sagittarius is not just valuable, it is essential. Not because Sagittarius is everything. Every zodiac sign carries its own sacred gift for this collective awakening. But the light of Sagittarius is the torch that illuminates the path when all of humanity stands at the crossroads between faith and fear. And if you are a Sagittarius, this explains why lately your life has felt like an emotional tsunami, why your trust keeps being tested, why you feel compelled to speak truth even when no one wants to hear it, why you feel like you must go further, deeper, and more honestly than you've ever gone before. And if you are not a Sagittarius but feel yourself drawn to them lately, you may be entering a phase of soul unlocking, and they, with their fierce and unrelenting light, may be the ones leading you back to the truth inside yourself. Ancient texts reveal this. We are entering the age of the light bearers. Not to dominate, but to open the path for others to find their way home. And you are standing at the very center of this sacred turning point. If anything I've just shared has stirred something deep within you, please write down one thing that you felt most reminded of. Maybe it's a phrase, a symbol, a feeling that has no name yet. Write it, not for me, but because your presence, your voice, is already part of this collective awakening. Are you ready? Not just to be the light, but to accept that the light comes with responsibility, with solitude, with power that cannot be misused. And if you are a Sagittarius, remember this. You were not born to fit in, you were born to lead the way. But the most important thing I want you to take with you is not just the gift Sagittarius has received, it is the timing of that gift. Its meaning, right now, in this precise moment of humanity's awakening. Because in a world breaking apart from the inside out, we need more than ever before those who dare to face the truth. Those souls who are not afraid of the biggest questions. Those who dare to dive deep into the essence of life to uncover what truly governs everything. And that is the gift God entrusted to you, Sagittarius. Not to escape reality, but to pierce through it. Not to stand above others and preach, but to walk beside them as someone who has once been lost yet never stopped believing. These are the qualities that all of us, regardless of our zodiac sign, are being called to nurture in this defining chapter of human history. And that is why, understanding why God chose to keep Sagittarius's power, even after once regretting it, can offer a new perspective for all of us, whether you are a Sagittarius or not. Because what we are speaking about is not just astrology. It is soul alchemy, the ancient science of turning fear into faith, chaos into clarity, loss into awakening. And the truth is, all of us, in different ways and stages, carry within us the capacity to transform. We all have Jupiter somewhere in our chart. We all carry a piece of Sagittarius in our evolutionary path. So I'm not inviting you to believe. I'm inviting you to experience, to reflect on how you are living, and whether you're using your gift to awaken or to avoid. If you are a Sagittarius, I invite you to claim this gift fully. Don't dim your light just because others aren't ready to see it. Don't apologize for speaking the truth. Your intensity, your far vision, your thirst for freedom are not flaws to be corrected. They are the torch that must be refined and protected. Remember the covenant of your ancestors, that this light was given to you not only for yourself, but to awaken those who have forgotten who they are. And if you are not a Sagittarius, I invite you to look again at the Sagittarius souls in your life. When they made you uncomfortable, maybe they were breaking a pattern you needed to release. When their words hurt you, maybe they said what you had buried too long. Honor their presence. Let them take you beyond your own edges. Let them make you feel lost for a while, so that you may find a deeper part of yourself you didn't know existed. Because the truth is, the power God gave to Sagittarius, and once considered taking back, is the very gift that can raise humanity to a new level of consciousness, a level where we no longer live to protect a mask, but to awaken the soul. And in this present moment, when you and I, and all of us, are being called to transform what no longer serves, when the world is drowning in division, when social media replaces truth with echo, the light of awakened souls like you becomes not just valuable, but essential. So, whether you are a Sagittarius or not, let your heart feel this message. Don't just listen with your mind. Let your intuition respond. Is there a part of you that is being awakened right now? Is there an arrow you need the courage to release beyond the safety of your comfort zone? Is there a truth you need to start living, even if those around you are still afraid of it? Because in the end, we are all being called to become alchemists. We are all being invited to master the art of transformation. And along that path, the wisdom of Sagittarius, those who dare to live truthfully, who dare to shoot their arrow into the darkness to uncover the light, becomes a guiding compass beyond measure. If anything I've shared today has stirred something deep inside you, please don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone you feel needs to be reminded that truth, wisdom, and light were never too much for them to carry. And remember, the next video will appear on your screen right after this. It might just be the next step in your awakening journey.